all so much for coming today to honor and celebrate my father's life. Sam Beck was a funny guy, both funny ha-ha and funny Some would say multifaceted, some would say complicated, but I think he was really very simple. He needed food, water, chocolate, and respect from those he loved. A television set was also pretty important. In thinking back over what I knew of the man and what I've learned through the years about his life apart from his children, it seems to me that the search for respect was always his driving force. That drive for respect dates as far back as my memories of him. My earliest memories of Dad are fairly typical. I remember him sledding with us in New Jersey when I was about 6 years old, Brent would have been about 4, and Greg just an infant. I remember him walking on a frozen-over creek and falling through the ice, and I looked over, scared to death that he might drown in the 6 inches of water flowing underneath, but he jumped up and laughed that deep machine gun fire guffaw of his. Kind of embarrassed us sometimes when we went to the movies with him and sat very near to him. So I knew he was okay. I remember him constantly tinkering with machines. He could really fix just about anything. Maybe not the way the manufacturer intended, but it worked eventually. I remember him making model airplanes that he could fly on a string in a circle overhead with those teeny tiny engines whining. He spent weeks each evening in the den watching Batman and the Green Hornet and Lost in Space and other 60s television fare while he carefully glued strips of balsa wood together and covered the skeleton with tissue paper and shellac. And then on those miraculous Saturday mornings when the plane was deemed complete and flight ready, we'd load up in that ginormous Plymouth station wagon with the big wings on the back, and we'd drive to the elementary school in Cleburne for the maiden flight, which was generally always also the final flight. Afterward, we'd gather up the pieces of broken balsa attached to torn strips of shellac tissue paper and drive the short distance back to the house where he'd pull out the next ill-fated box of balsa and airplane glue and start all over again. I never really understood why one would put so much time and effort into something that would undoubtedly be destroyed upon completion. It's always in hindsight, isn't it, that we see so clearly what should have been so apparent at the time. He was teaching me, unbeknownst to him, and certainly lost upon me, the lessons of persistence, determination, resilience, and fortitude. And now I respect him for that. Interesting, isn't it, that when Kellen was so sick, he and Greg spent many hours assembling the same types of aircraft and flying them to their destruction in the very same way. Perhaps Dad and Kellen are flying those planes together now. I wonder if balsa wood airplanes crash in heaven. I remember our mother having a meeting of the Cleburne Glee Club at our home one evening, and Dad had evidently been given the responsibility of keeping the kids out of sight. The four of us were comfortably snuggled on top of his bed while he held open the red book of Grimm's fairy tales with one hand and a cigarette in the other. It was the 60s. He read to us with gusto and expression, and I knew he was truly enjoying that rare moment of connection, and so were we. He always tried hard to enjoy the music that so eloquently and passionately defined our mother's life. Could never quite enter that world with her, though, but I respect him for trying. There were the weekends of boating and fishing, getaways to Eisenhower State Park on Lake Texoma, and the perpetual 20-hour car trips back to Ohio each summer. Brent always crossed over to my side of the car, Greg would get carsick, and the hours seemed interminable, but we were all exposed to the history and lineage of our family through those trips, and a connection to our homeland of Northwest Ohio was forged. I feel blessed to know that history, cherish those memories, and respect him for the tremendous effort it entailed to ride those hundreds of hours in such close proximity to the three of us. As we became adults, there never was a conversation with Dad when he didn't pass along his new joke of the week, or the day, or the hour. Though I never really found them too funny, and some were often outright disgusting, I did marvel at how he could remember so many, especially now that I'm at the age where I have difficulty remembering my own name. He wasn't socially adept, but he always made the effort in the only way he knew how, telling jokes, appropriate or not. I think that he considered each joke a gift to the person with whom he was speaking, and gift-giving was his passion. He couldn't wait till a birthday or Christmas to give folks his hand-picked gifts. And boy, what gifts they were. From his thousands of gift catalogs, he browsed daily, finding the perfect remembrances for each family member or friend. Toward the end of his his life, he did mix us up a little. He couldn't really remember if it was Brent or Greg who would like the Pink Floyd toilet paper, or which son would enjoy the Kiss vegetable peeler that played tunes while you made julienne fries. But he was obviously thinking about us daily and what he could give to us to show us how much he loved us. I respect him for trying in the only way he knew how to demonstrate his abiding love for all of us. No matter what happened, no matter where we were or where he was, we can all agree that he always loved us dearly. That never changed. And Carla. How can it be put into words what Carla meant to him? What she still means to us? Carla defines love, agape love, complete, total, dedicated, unconditional love. Caring for him, watching out for him, living her life only for his needs. None of us can understand from where she got her strength, her faith, especially in the end. And Dad could never reciprocate. He wanted to, he meant to, but he didn't really understand that total selflessness. It's hard for any of us to totally grasp what Carla did for him or why. Dad loved her beyond reason and was wise beyond his consciousness for choosing Carla 27 years ago. I have such respect for him for finding and bringing her into our family. What an incredible gift he's left for us. In the end, Dad told me he was sorry. He was sorry that he couldn't be for each of us what we wanted or expected, but he was who he was. I respect him for that final vulnerability. One of the last times I was with him, he told me this. He said, "I've not always been honest in my life. I've not always done very nice things. I've told lies, I've done mean things, but I've asked God for forgiveness, and he has forgiven me, I'm sure of that. I could never live with myself if I wasn't sure of his forgiveness." What more could any of us wish for someone we love? He knew his God. He knew that God offered him redemption through the forgiveness that Jesus died to give us. That ultimately is the perfect ending to anyone's life, isn't it? And I respect my father, Sam Beck, for his faith and for this last final lesson and gift given.